The signal from Deathworld. The Zarkon Empire ruled many star systems. Their warriors were strong, proud, and fearless. They had crushed every enemy in their path. No planet had ever stopped them. One day, something strange happened. A signal came from a dead planet. The signal was weak, old, and messy, but it came from a Class 5 Deathworld. Deathworld? General Kor, the Zarkon leader, looked at the report. There's nothing alive on those, only storms, poison air, and monsters. Yes, sir, replied Commander Vec. But this one, it has life signs, small but clear. The room went silent. Send a scout team, Kor ordered. Find out what kind of fool dares live on a death world. The scout ship Razor Claw entered Earth's orbit. The alien crew laughed when they saw the planet below. Blue skies, green forests. Ha! Looks peaceful. What's so deadly about this place? Said one warrior. Maybe the signal came from a broken machine. Maybe nothing is alive down there. They landed in a thick forest, quiet and dark. Birds flew away. The trees stood still, like they were watching. Tech scans. Show no cities, no spaceports, the ship AI reported. But, strange. A small object is approaching. Suddenly, the ship shook. Boom! Sparks flew. Lights blinked. The engines shut down. What was that? Shouted the pilot. The AI answered. A low-tech missile, homemade. It hit a weak spot. The Zarkons looked at each other. A missile? From where? Who fired it? No idea. They stepped out into the forest, blasters ready. The air was rich in oxygen. The ground was soft but strong. One soldier bent down. Tracks, something was here. Two-legged, heavy. They followed the trail. After 2 hours, one warrior named Krell disappeared. Krell? Do you copy? No answer. They searched. Nothing. Just his helmet hanging from a tree. Someone is here, said the captain. Commander Vec ordered a scan. Heat signature, 40 meters ahead. The team moved fast, weapons raised, but when they reached the spot, only a small fire remained, and on a nearby tree scratched in the bark were words in alien language. Go home. They returned to the ship. Everyone was tense. This is a death world, one soldier said. Maybe the planet itself is alive. Nonsense, replied the captain. Someone is playing tricks. But that night alarms rang. A trap exploded near the ship. It didn't hurt anyone, but it showed skill and purpose. The next morning, 2 more soldiers vanished. General Kor received a report from the scout ship. One enemy, human, no advanced weapons, but dangerous. Using terrain, using traps. We cannot catch him. Request backup. Kor's eyes narrowed. One human, and they fear him? Back on Earth, the human moved silently through the forest. His name was Alex Stone, a former soldier. He had lived in the wild for 10 years. No one came to this area, that's why he liked it. But then, the ship came. Aliens. Armed. Dangerous. He didn't panic. He hunted them, with rope, with spikes, with noise and fire. Simple tricks. Basic training. But they worked. He watched from the trees as they grew afraid. They think this is war, he whispered. This is just survival. The Zarkons were confused. Why is he not using guns? Why does he fight alone? Why do I feel fear? Commander, Vec stared at the trees. This world, this human, they are both trying to kill us. A message played on their radio. It was in their language, low and clear. You landed on the wrong world. Silence followed. The team froze. Who taught him our language? The captain whispered. The commander replied. He learned it. Alone. Just by listening, no one spoke. Then the captain asked a final question. If this is what they call basic, what do they call dangerous? In the shadows, Alex smiled. He had more traps to set, more lessons to teach. He wasn't just defending Earth. He was sending a message to the stars. Don't mess with Deathworlders. Hunter becomes the hunted. Blood dripped slowly from Zarn's fingers. Not his blood. He looked down at his hand, trembling. Zarn was a warrior of the Zarkon Empire, trained in 10 forms of combat. He had killed beasts with 2 heads and crushed machines with his bare claws. But now, he was scared, because what he held in his hand was a shoe. A human shoe. Small, worn, torn at the sole, and stuffed inside it was a note written in perfect Zarkon language. Still following your footprints. You should walk softer. Zarn dropped the shoe like it was on fire. Commander, he called, voice shaking. He's toying with us. Commander Vec didn't want to believe it, but the signs were clear. This one human was not running, he was hunting. The ship's scanners still couldn't track him. The air was too thick, the forest too dense. Even heat scans were useless. He moves like he's part of the land, said the scout chief. He knows every tree, every hill. Like he belongs here, Vec growled. He's just a primitive, alone, unarmored. Then why are we losing? Silence. Meanwhile, Alex Stone moved fast through the trees. Quiet, calm, focused. He didn't hate the aliens. He didn't even fear them. But they brought war to his home. And that was a mistake. He had served in Earth's Special Survival Forces, trained in 12 biomes, fought in 5 off-world conflicts, lived alone for years. To him, this wasn't war. It was just another exercise, another hunt. Alex watched the aliens from a high branch eating leaves from a tree they didn't scan for poison. He smiled. Enjoy your stomach problems later. Later that night, the aliens set up a new perimeter. Lasers, drones, motion sensors. We catch him tonight, Vec said. He cannot sneak through this. But he didn't need to, because the attack came from above. A dead tree, already marked safe, exploded into falling branches. 2 Zarkons were crushed. Before they could react, lights blinked out, every drone fried by a pulse trap made from scrap and battery packs. Alex's voice came over their radio again. Calm. Slow. Your tech is useless here. Try using your brain. Vec screamed and crushed the radio. The next morning, the surviving soldiers moved in groups. No one wanted to be alone. They didn't talk much. Every sound made them jump. Even the wind made them reach for their weapons. He's always watching, one whispered. He never sleeps, another muttered. They found one of their own tied to a tree, still alive but unconscious, with a sign. Your armor makes you slow. Back in space, General Kor watched the latest footage. He saw his proud warriors shaking, hiding, falling into basic traps. This cannot be, he growled. He has no armor, no army, no ship. He has Earth, one officer replied quietly. Kor turned slowly. What do you mean? The officer pointed to the data feed. Earth is a death world. Gravity is high. Weather is deadly. Wildlife is aggressive. And the humans, they evolved here. They adapted. They trained here. Commander, Vec now had only 5 soldiers left. Morale was low. Supplies were lower. Still, he refused to retreat. He's one man. Just one. We will end this. That night they moved in together, fully armored, ready for anything, except for the ground giving out under their feet. They fell into a pit, not deep, but the sides were lined with spikes. Not metal spikes, just sharpened sticks hardened by fire. Simple. Basic, but deadly. 2 soldiers died screaming. Above them, Alex stood on a rock, looking down. You invaded a world where children learn this in school. He walked away, disappearing into the fog. Now only 3 Zarkons remained. They finally understood. They weren't chasing a target. They were the prey. And this death world? It wasn't just deadly because of storms or beasts. It was deadly because of its people. Basic training? Inside the Zarkon warship orbiting Earth, a military AI was running analysis. It had scanned every move made by the human, the traps, the ambushes, the stealth attacks. The AI called it Level 9 Tactical Warfare. Only Zarkon elite assassins were trained in Level 9. But then the AI made a mistake. It connected to an old human satellite and downloaded data from something called YouTube. The screen showed a group of sweaty young humans crawling through mud. A voice shouted, "Move. Recruit, this is just the warm-up." The AI paused. Match found, 87% similarity to subject's tactics. Source: Basic Military Training, Earth. The AI blinked. Re-evaluating. Deathworlders start at level 9. Down on the surface, Commander Vec stared at the data. "He's not an elite?" he asked. "No," replied the tech officer. "This is what their new soldiers learn. They're children." Vec couldn't believe it. This human, this nightmare, wasn't special on his planet. He was normal. Meanwhile, Alex Stone sat beside a fire, quietly sharpening a stick. He had eaten. He had slept. He felt calm. Not because he was safe, but because he was home. This forest had fed him, trained him, forged him, and now it was helping him defend itself. He looked up at the stars. "Funny," he whispered. "They came from the sky to bring fear, and now they're the ones who can't sleep." In the alien camp, fear was growing like poison. One soldier refused to go out at night. Another kept waking up screaming. The traps weren't even deadly anymore. They were messages. One soldier found a tree marked with their names. All of them. The names had slashes through them, except the last 3. That meant the human knew who they were, knew how many were left, and was keeping count. Commander Vec tried to speak bravely. "We are Zarkon. We do not fear shadows." But even he couldn't sleep, because now, the human was playing with them, like a cat plays with mice. Back on the orbiting warship, General Kor watched footage of Earth training camps. He saw humans jump into icy water, crawl through fire, and hike for days with no food. He saw 18-year-olds doing things that broke full-grown Zarkon warriors. "Why?" he demanded. "Why train like this?" A captured human file gave the answer. "Because the universe doesn't care. If we don't prepare for hell, we won't survive it." Kor sat down slowly. They prepare for hell? Just to survive? The officer beside him said nothing, because what could he say? Alex set up a new trap. Not to kill, just to confuse. He left one Zarkon soldier dangling upside down in a net, untouched. Attached to the net was a tag. "If I wanted you dead, you'd be buried." When the others found him, the soldier was shaking. "I heard him breathing," he whispered. "He was right there. He didn't even hide." They pulled him down. That night, no one slept. Commander Vec finally cracked. He sent a message to the Zarkon High Command. "Request extraction. The enemy is not elite but trained. Planet is hostile. Morale is breaking." Reply came quickly. "Hold position. Reinforcements en route. Continue operation." But no one believed help would come. In time, and Vec, he now understood. They hadn't landed on a weak world. They had walked into a forge. A place that didn't make civilians. It made warriors. From childhood, Alex stood in a clearing, his old military patch in hand. "Basic training," it said. He smiled. "They thought I was the big threat. Wait till they meet someone actually trained for war." Then he whispered toward the trees. "Let's end this game." He picked up his bow, strapped a knife to his boot, and vanished into the dark. Because now, it was time to stop warning them and start finishing them. Deathworld secrets. In a forgotten room deep inside the Zarkon War archives, there sat a dusty, ancient book, one not taught in military schools anymore. A curious young Zarkon cadet once read it and asked his teacher, "Teacher, is it true? Is there really a planet where storms kill machines, animals learn to stalk humans, and humans learn to stalk gods?" The teacher closed the book in fear. "That planet is not myth. It is real, but we never speak its name." Now, centuries later, the Zarkon Empire had made the mistake of landing there again. Earth, the Deathworld, and it had secrets. In the forest below, Alex Stone moved like a shadow. He wasn't hunting anymore. He was protecting something. He had led the aliens far from his home, deeper into old Earth, into lands untouched for decades, places even humans didn't go anymore. Vec and the last Zarkon soldiers followed blindly. hoping to catch him. But now they were being watched, not just by Alex. The forest itself was alive. Vines moved where there was no wind. Creatures growled. From places scanners said were empty, something was wrong. One soldier whispered, "I think this land knows we don't belong." He was right. Back on the Zarkon ship, a strange data packet was received. An old Earth signal. Buried. Hidden. The AI decrypted it and displayed 2 words, quarantine zone. And a warning. Do not enter. Uncontrolled biome. Genetic threats. Abandoned after Project Goliath. General Kor frowned. Project, what? But Earth had no more to say, and the signal vanished. Commander Vek's boots sank into black mud. The trees here were different. Twisted, too tall, too quiet. Suddenly, a scream echoed. One of the last soldiers disappeared, yanked into the trees. No weapon fire, no warning, just gone. Then the scream stopped. Vek spun in panic. Who did that? Human, show yourself, a voice answered. But it wasn't Alex. It was female, robotic, and very old. You are in Restricted Zone 7, testing ground. Level, red. Please leave before exposure. What exposure? Vek shouted. No answer. Just rustling leaves and eyes, watching. Alex moved through the zone quickly. He knew these woods. From the old briefings, Project Goliath was Earth's secret. Long ago, Earth scientists tried to create smarter wildlife, animals that could protect the planet from invaders. Then, something went wrong. So humans sealed the zones and left them wild. Alex had never entered one before. But now, to deal with aliens, he'd take the risk. He had one final gift for them. Let Earth do what Earth does best. Survive by killing everything that doesn't belong. The Zarkons didn't know what was real anymore. Their scanners blinked false readings. Creatures invisible to radar crawled in the trees. One soldier fired at a shadow. The shadow didn't fall. It grinned. Within minutes, another warrior was torn away, dragged into the darkness. Beck fired his blaster wildly. Nothing. No target. No heat. Only whispers. Deathworld. Deathworld. Alex watched from above, hidden in a dead tree. He saw what the forest was doing. He didn't smile. He didn't enjoy it. But he didn't stop it either. These things, this land, they were made for war, he thought. Made to protect Earth, when soldiers couldn't. Now they were awake again and hungry. Vek finally ran. No strategy, no pride. He sprinted through the woods, bleeding and screaming, trying to call his ship. But the signal was gone. His ship had lifted off. The crew had watched his vital signs drop and assumed he was dead. So they left. Earth had swallowed them whole. Back on the mountain, Alex sat alone again. He looked at the quiet forest. Birds had returned. The zone was going back to sleep. He knew it wouldn't chase anything beyond its line. It never did. Earth didn't start wars, but it always finished them. He reached for his old radio and spoke one message, in Zarkon language, hoping it would reach orbit. Tell your empire, this is what we call a restricted area, and I haven't even shown you what humans call war. The human problem, the room was silent. 12 Zarkon warlords sat around a dark table made of black stone. Behind each of them stood banners from planets they had conquered, some burned, some dripping with enemy blood. They were the most feared leaders in the galaxy. But tonight, they looked afraid. A hologram played in the center of the table. It showed a man in dirt-covered clothes holding a knife made from scrap and bone, a human. One warlord finally spoke. This is the one who destroyed our entire recon team? No, replied the intelligence commander. This is one of many. We believe he is just a normal soldier. Silence again. Then a whisper passed through the room like cold air. We have a human problem. On Earth, Alex Stone was patching up a scratch on his arm. The forest was quiet again. The threat was gone. But something told him this wasn't over. "They'll come back," he muttered. He looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, more ships were waiting. He had sent a message, not just through the radio, but through fear, and fear travels fast. Back on the Zarkon warship, files on humans were being reclassified. They were no longer listed as primitive species. Now they were marked Class 7 Threat, Adaptive Kill Survivors. Warning: do not engage without extreme force. Do not invade Deathworlds. An officer stared at the words on his screen and said, "We miscalculated." Another replied, "We didn't study humans, we underestimated them." In the meeting room, Warlord Krax finally stood. "I don't care if they are fast or smart or trained by wild animals. They are still flesh and bone." Another hologram played. A human child, climbing a cliff without gear, laughing as rocks, fell around him. "Then explain this," Krax growled. "That's a child. How is that normal?" "Because," said the intelligence commander, "on Earth, pain is not feared. It's expected." Alex was back in his cabin repairing old gear. He knew his message had reached space, and he knew what they were thinking. Who trained this man? But the real truth? Earth did. Earth trained all of them. Through cold winters, hot deserts, wild predators, and constant challenges. Humans didn't get strong through luck. They were forced to be strong, or die. And that's the part aliens didn't understand. Yet back on the Zarkon ship, fear was spreading fast. A rumor had started that humans could see in the dark, that they didn't need food, that their blood was acid. Of course, none of it was true. But that didn't matter. Because when a species fights the shadows and survives fire, rumors become weapons, and the humans hadn't even tried to spread fear. It happened on its own, just by surviving. A new message came into Zarkon High. Command intercepted from another species. It said, "Avoid Earth. The humans have woken. They're not expanding. They're waiting. And if you go too far, they won't send armies, just one." That one line terrified the warlords the most. Just one. Alex walked through the forest again, this time planting a flag. Not a national one, but a handmade one. A signal, not for humans, for outsiders. It said, "This is not your world. It never was. Try again and you won't leave." Then he left it there. He didn't stay to watch. He didn't need to. Because the message wasn't just in the flag. It was in the dirt, the air, the silence. Earth had spoken. And now the galaxy had. To decide, do we fight Deathworlders or do we pray they never leave their home? The one they sent it was a place even the Zarkons feared. A frozen world locked in darkness. No sun, no day. Just black stone and storms that tore metal apart. Here the galaxy kept its monsters, killers, warlords, creatures too dangerous to kill, too smart to forget. In Cell 77, chained by energy locks, sat one such monster. Name, Rithar Malik. Species, unknown. Record, defeated 3 empires, survived 6 extermination attempts. Killed his own gods. He was not loyal to anyone. Until now. A black ship landed on the surface of Null Delta 9. 2 Zarkon officers walked in, escorted by drones. They entered Cell 77. Malik opened one glowing red eye and said, "So, you finally need me." The officer nodded. "There's a world, a death world. We need it silenced." Malik stood. "Send an army." "We did." Malik smiled. And they didn't return. Back on Earth, Alex was hiking up an old mountain path. He had a bad feeling. The sky had gone quiet. No more dropships. No more scout signals. Too quiet. He sat by an old tree, sharpened a stick, and waited. Not because he was afraid, but because he wasn't. He knew what quiet skies meant. Something worse was coming. The Zarkon ship arrived days later. It didn't land, with fire or bombs. It came down slowly as if the ship itself feared to touch Earth. Inside, Malik smiled as the wind howled. He stepped out onto the forest floor and breathed in the air. Beautiful, he said. A planet that still knows how to kill. He didn't use scanners, he didn't ask for maps, he just walked, like a hunter. Alex saw the figure from the cliff. One man. Alone. That was a bad sign. Aliens usually brought armies. Only humans sent one man when they were serious. Now the galaxy was doing the same. Alex picked up his gear. This wasn't about scaring anymore, it was about surviving. Again. Malik moved through the forest like he had always lived there. He passed traps without touching them. He sensed eyes watching him and scared them away just by existing. Birds stopped singing. Even the wind moved around him. Alex watched through his scope hidden in leaves. One thought repeated in his head. He's not here to fight, he's here to end it. The meeting was sudden. No speeches. No warnings. Alex stepped from the shadows. Malik smiled. So, he said. You're the human they all fear. Alex shrugged. I'm just the one who survived. Malik tilted his head. I've killed titans, crushed fleets. Your people sent farmers and miners, soldiers with sticks. Yet here you are, alone, making empires scream. Alex replied, We didn't ask. For war. Malik nodded. And yet you wage it like a god. Then silence. The kind of silence before a storm. They fought. Not with words. Not with armies. Just two warriors in a broken forest. Steel on steel, breath and blood. A fight the galaxy would never see, but would feel. Trees broke. Ground shook. Animals fled. One human, one monster. A final test. Hours later, only one figure stood. Bloody. Bruised. Breathing hard. Alex. He didn't roar in victory. He didn't speak. He just buried the enemy and walked away because humans don't celebrate survival. They prepare for the next round. The Zarkon ship hovered silently above, receiving the signal. Target failed. Mission lost. Do not return. The crew didn't argue. They left orbit instantly, faster than any retreat before, because now they understood. You can't conquer a death world. You can only survive it, if it lets you. High above, in a council on another world, a quiet voice said, So, even Malik failed? The reply was soft, almost fearful. He didn't fail. He fought something stronger than war. What was it? A human, with nothing left to lose. When Deathworlders leave home on the bright blue planet of Illyria, children played under silver trees. There were no wars here, no armies, no weapons. The Illyrians believed peace was the future of the galaxy. They watched from tall towers as stars moved across the sky, telling stories of distant civilizations. One day, a new star appeared, but it didn't move like a star. It was fast, burning, falling. Ship small black made of human steel. It landed hard in a field of glowing flowers. The Illyrians ran to help. The hatch opened, and one man stepped out. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't here for peace. He was here with a message. The war is over. You just don't know it yet. 1 week earlier, Earth Command held its first full war meeting in over 100 years. Representatives sat in an underground room built inside a mountain. Screens showed alien maps, troop movements, and intercepted threats. A general stood at the front. She pointed at a blinking dot on the map. Zarkon Prime. They attacked our world. They sent Malik. They thought we wouldn't respond. She turned to the room. But now, we will. There were no cheers. Only quiet nods. Humans didn't get excited about war. They remembered it. And they had just decided they were leaving home. Alex stood on the platform, wearing a black survival suit, helmet at his side. A pilot asked, "Are you sure you're ready?" Alex replied, "I was born ready. Earth made sure of it." The ship roared into the sky, not to escape, not to Explore to warn the galaxy you came to us, now we're coming to you. Back on Illyria, the peaceful leaders stood in front of the human visitor. They offered food, water, a bed, but the human shook his head. I didn't come here for rest. Then why are you here? They asked. He turned toward the stars to draw a line. He pressed a button. A hologram appeared of all the empires that had attacked Earth: Zarkon, Gruul, Veltok, Mydrani. He said 3 words: "We are coming." Across the galaxy, fear returned. But this time it wasn't because of strange forests or invisible traps. It was something much simpler. Humans were no longer hiding. They were organizing. They were building ships, and they weren't coming to conquer. They were coming to finish what others started. On Zarkon Prime, the War Council was in panic. Deathworlders are off-world now, a scout said. Their soldiers are landing on neutral planets, warning other species, making friends. Another shouted, "Why are they warning anyone?" The answer chilled the room. Because they don't want another war. But if there is one, they won't fight alone next time. Alex visited one planet after another. He didn't bring threats. He brought knowledge of how Earth survived, of what it cost, of what they endured. He showed the scars, the stories, the fire in his eyes. Some planets offered help, others offered apologies, a few offered fear, but no one dared lift a weapon, because now everyone understood. Earth was the galaxy's last warning, and maybe its only hope. Back on Earth, the forests were quiet again. The mountain cabin was empty, but a flag still stood outside. Torn by wind, soaked by rain, untouched by time, it read, "This is Earth, we survived you, now we choose who survives us." High above in the stars, a new message echoed through all frequencies. A simple human voice. Calm. Clear. Unshaking. "We are not your enemy. But if you push again, you won't find humans waiting in the trees. You'll find us standing at your gates. Because now, the Deathworlders have left home."